Good morning, and how are we doing this morning? Welcome to today's edition of Island Tea, just about 9 minutes after the hour of 8 here in our studio. It is Thursday, May 8th. We are being simulcast on TVC, Channel 40, Facebook, and as well as YouTube. Just to remind you of the numbers if you wish to join in on the conversation or bring up a topic. In the UK, it's 0333 In the US, 1718 285 6984 or 1305 and 921 4619. Our local number 4660989. I hope we are all in great standing this morning. To the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, good morning again. To the regional and international diaspora, good morning. Wherever you are in the sound of our voices, good morning, good morning. Quint, how are you doing this morning?
I'm fine, thank you.
I don't mean to be the bearer of sad or bad news, but I just saw on
Two.
MCN, that's Shaq's page, where a male body was pulled from the Irish town Bay Road last night, the waters.
Oh, I didn't
Wow.
know that.
So, to that family, we'll have to wait for further information on that. As I said, the post is from 9 hours ago. So, condolences on behalf of the team here at WinFM to you, to your families. May God be your comfort at this time. It's never easy to lose a loved one, so we're definitely empathizing with you at this time. I'm going to start on the regional scene. Quint, the article I was discussing with you, I know I sent it to myself. I'm looking for it. Now I cannot find it. So I'm going to start with this one, which is right at my fingertips. And it says PM Brown responds to SVG, that's St. Vincent's and the Grenadines Prime Minister, over CIP comments, that's the Citizen by Investment Program. And this article is on our winfm.com page, and it is written by Andre Emmanuel, and it says Prime Minister Gaston Brown has defended Antigua and Barbuda citizenship by investment against criticism from St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, calling his fellow regional leaders' recent remarks unfortunate and irresponsible. Speaking on his radio program over the weekend, Brown expressed shock at Gonsalves' characterization of regional CIP programs as corrupt and poorly managed, saying the St. Vincent leader had gone too far in his assessment. He said, and quote, I felt that Ralph's statement was unfortunate for somebody who I admire, especially for his language skills. I think this is a deliberate and provocative attack on member states within the OECS, PM Brown said, end quote. Brown's comments came in response to Gonsalves' public criticism made at an April 15 press conference on the Caribbean CIP programs, in which the Vincentian leader warned that the sale of passports represented an existential threat to the region's democratic systems and alleged widespread corruption within the program administration. PM Brown emphasized that Antigua and Barbuda has not processed a single application without appropriate due diligence, which includes review by international due diligence agency, regional institutions, and global organizations, including Interpol. Brown took particular issue with Gonsalves' broad characterization, stating that accusations of corruption within the program could not apply to Antigua. I wanted him to say could not apply to the members that are in the CIP and not just to Antigua, but I guess he's going to be specific since he felt that
Yeah,
the
and
Prime Minister of St. Vincent directed the comments at Antigua.
yeah, and well, I partly agree with what the Saint Vincent Prime Minister says. Partly, the
In
part
terms of what, the corruption?
no, the part about our citizenship, our being under threat,
Oh, scrutiny.
being on no, there's a part about our. I think it's about
One, that the sale of passports represent an existential threat to the region's democratic systems.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Because if you follow what is happening in Africa, the Chinese are sending a lot of male Chinese over there, and they're marrying into the African women, and you know what that intent is. so
to
that
get citizenship.
down the line they will have offspring that are Africans, and then they are going to be Africans by birth, but Chinese by nationality. You know how the Chinese function. So you understand what that could do to the electoral system down the line.
Hmm.
You don't follow me. You look puzzled.
No, because I'm thinking their mom is from there, they're from there, right? I understand how they can get the Chinese citizenship through their dad because everything happens through your father's lineage. So I understand maybe you're saying soon they're going to be outnumbered.
That is the Chinese intent.
Oh boy. Woo.
Not even so much that they might be outnumbered, but the
Mhm.
numbers will be such as to create, for instance, you have election and they could sway it. The numbers are such that they could, depending on how the Africans vote
Mhm.
and how you want it to go, because remember these people do their research,
Uh-huh.
so they know the
Yeah.
statistics, and they could sway it by adding, for instance, let's say one constituency needed 1,000 votes,
Mhm.
they would make up that 1,000.
Yeah.
So, and you've also heard that here in the Caribbean, people are concerned that if the people who have our citizenship by investment were to come back in mass
Mhm.
and decide they wanted to vote, that could create a problem. So that interlocks with the
All
very
of that.
same.
Yeah, because I know St.
Same.
Vincent and the Grenadines are not part of the CIP program. So that's why he's quite vocal about
I
it.
know, I know the citizenship by investment has done us some good financially. It has really added to our GDP, but there are some cons to it that we had better look at
Yeah.
in the long term.
Because we lost our visa free rights for Canada. We're now on an ETA for the UK. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is basically disappearing because as
Good
per.
morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm giving God thanks for another day. I call to beat Greg at it. When Greg can't get in.
Okay.
Good morning, Greg. How are you? I know he answered me. Now, this problem that Queen's brought up is interesting because we here married to the Santo Domingos. We go to the States and we marry.
Yeah.
So what you have is a number of half-breeds.
Well, I don't like that term, Sylvie.
All right, mixed breed and mix.
Well, if
Because when you focus on the Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
then what about when our people go to England and they're married to the people there?
We all into
You got
marriage.
You-
I am a Guyanese that's married to a Kitchen.
Sylvine,
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Sylvine, the problem is not marrying in. The problem is marrying in with a long-term agenda. The
But
problem
everybody
is
does that.
you have
You do it together.
Yes,
You want a visa.
yes, but we're
Not
talking
I.
about we're speaking about where you have intent to overthrow or topple the
That's an assumption, eh?
electoral system. Yeah, it is an assumption, but it is
It's an assumption.
but it is a
You got to
logical
be backed by
assumption.
facts. Now, it may turn out so, but it is an assumption.
When it comes to the Chinese, we cannot just take things simply.
What about the Russians?
China is overpopulated. China is looking to send their population to
China is
disperse.
not overpopulated, you know, because they have now asked the people to get as many as three. So China is not overpopulated.
Well, overpopulated in terms of those places that are what is the word I'm looking for?
I don't know, but they're not overpopulated at all. Because if they were, they wouldn't have increased the number of children you could get.
They're doing that. They're doing that because their birth rate has been declining. The older generation number is exceeding, and the younger generation number is
Right. So
yes.
you cannot say. Because they tell me you is incorrect, eh?
Sylvine, you're a statistician. What I'm
Right, so
listen,
that's what I'm saying.
Listen. Here's what I'm saying. The Chinese know that if they don't, it is like they have no other alternative. even if it is that their numbers, how much is the Chinese population in relation to the rest of the world? Some years ago, I know that
They're in India, because India almost catch them up.
yes, when the rest of the world's population was about maybe 2 billion or a billion, the Chinese population alone was twice that.
Right, we have caught up and passed. India used to be one something. Now India and China have almost the same amount. Are you aware of that?
My point, I'm sticking to the point that the China.
Yes, stick to your point. But
the point
statistically not correct.
here's the point. The point is, and you can research this. The Chinese population, in terms of long term down the line, posterity is under threat. So they have no other alternative but to entice people. It is the same with Americans' population, the white population. That is why recently Trump has been putting out that they want to give mothers X amount for getting babies or
because
whatever.
all over the birth rate is dropping. Even in Jamaica, they were looking at a
Yeah,
hospital.
Because
They said,
the replacement rate is 2.1. People getting one child and one child.
yeah,
And then you have Social Security, which depends on having a growing working population.
and that's
So,
not
so
happening.
while we talk, it has a certain amount of prejudice. We got to put all the countries that are not our nationality in the same boat to the Chinese.
Sylvine, I have a prejudice. I make no bones.
It is obvious.
Yes, I
Because
have.
you live in a country,
The
right?
problem with us as a black people is that we seem to be the only race that don't have a prejudice. Every other race, see how every other race
Everybody
deals
got
with the
prejudice.
black.
Everybody got prejudice.
Okay, so then don't say I have a prejudice as if though it's a negativity in
that
relation to
statement
the
you
rest
made. All right, you
of
make that
the
statement.
world.
The other day, our Prime Minister said there was over 150-something fake marriages.
Okay.
They are between the Santo Domingans and us. In the Dominican Republic, they are prejudiced against the Haitians,
Yep.
even if they're born there.
Yep.
But then they come out here, in the other Caribbean countries, and marry to black people. So how do you explain that? Now they want about these people coming.
That point you just made strengthens my point. They do that
Which point?
because they want a better life. They want a citizenship here, so they will do something that they are not even that comfortable with. But it makes sure that they extend their nationality and they are able to live in a different place and make money.
So what do you? Okay, so you mentioned that about them. So what is the Chinese doing just to?
That's what I mean.
The Chinese intent is overterm. You go and do research in terms of how the Chinese are intermarrying with the Africans, and then read the comments of the Africans.
Because then they had an incident the other day when they, at supermarket in Africa, had to close down because of some kind of discrimination. I saw something like that online.
Yeah.
Look, the Chinese are no different from the Europeans. The Chinese feel that they are superior to black people. If you look at what China is doing in Africa, they're not doing it because they love black people. They're doing it because they are savvy business people. If you look at what Russia is doing, if you look at what Russia is doing in Africa, Russia is the only place. You see, people give Russia a bad name. Russia is the only place that is dealing with Africa in terms of we get your gold, we get your bauxite, we get your, and we give you a fair deal. You understand? Russia will help in terms of, why you think Burkina Faso and those others have linked with Russia?
Because goal, you know?
Yes.
Wait.
And Russia's long-term goal,
and Russia's long-term capturing.
Go ahead, Miss Sylvine.
What I'm saying, Russia goal is the same like the Chinese. Everybody looking to build up an empire. So they come different, but they're the same.
Here's
I
Russia's.
don't understand how people could be defending
Here's,
Russia.
here's
It's
Russia's.
exploitation.
Here's Russia's agenda. Everybody has an agenda, but here's Russia's agenda. Russia wants to make sure everybody knows, if they're thinking right, that you cannot suppress the advancement of Africa indefinitely. Africa has everything that it needs to develop itself. Here's Russia's long-term agenda. Russia's long-term agenda is that they want, when the American and European system topple gradually, they have allies that they can function with and they can deal with in terms of being a world superpower. The reason why America and Europe has advanced for so long is that they have taken away from Africa and not advanced Africa and developed themselves. Everything that Europe and America has, they practically stole it from Africa.
But why would we want Russia to be a superpower?
I don't understand. To me, this
I don't want them
Russia
to be a
thing is
superpower.
You don't want
I
them.
say,
That's you.
That's
But
foolishness,
you,
because the truth is,
that's
everybody
because
wants access. Look,
Look.
easy access to the resources of Africa. Now, if you see the U.S. and the colonial powers coming that way, you choose a different strategy. It's a matter of strategy.
and what's the different strategy, Sylvine?
The
Just like
same
how,
end goal.
You what?
The same end goal to take full control of the assets and the thing of Africa is not different.
I ask
Different.
you, Sylvine, you say Africa should have a different strategy. So what I am asking you, what is the strategy they should have?
Has Africa clearly outlined their strategy?
Africa,
To the one that you gave? Yes, I know.
Africa needs to unite, but certain
Look, stop
African.
this unite story. Africa has different countries.
You see,
different countries, different religions.
Sylvine, sometimes you annoy me. I mean,
Well, that's good.
and that's a part of democracy. But you
but
annoy
listen
me
to me, listen to
because
me.
you have this Eurocentric thing in your head that
That's an assumption. That is an assumption.
it is a fact. Anything that goes, anything
Africa
that
must
is-
unite. Africa must unite. You have East Africa, West Africa, North Africa, South Africa.
so what you're saying they
What would
cannot.
it take? What
you're
would it
saying
take for all
you-
of Africa to unite?
You see her stance? Africa cannot unite. That is her stance.
No, I ask you a question.
no,
What
she said,
would
what would it
it
take?
take for
What would
Africa
it
to
take? She
unite?
didn't say they can.
My concern is whatever it takes, Africa needs to unite. That is my point. It is
I agree
just
with you,
like
but the point is, how can you
Yeah,
achieve
how
it?
can they achieve it?
they can achieve it if they become rational as different countries and they decide to stop letting. For instance, look at France. The countries that
So-
got independence from France still use the francs. I think it is.
Yeah.
It is the francs, and it has to go to France, and then France devalues it, so that whenever France gets minerals or whatever from Africa, it is at a way decreased value.
It's a lower value.
You understand what I'm saying? So you
I
want to tell
understand
me?
that, but the point is that
So,
Africans have got
so
to
that is why
make decisions for themselves.
that is why Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, the three countries that you and others, Sylvine, keep saying or were overthrown, you have to do what you got to do. You understand? And that
That's
is
the
why.
point I don't agree with, eh?
Well, that is
You
you.
overthrow after you overthrow all election after that.
Keep telling young people about this democracy and don't overthrow, and keep them in oppression and see what is going to happen. And
You don't need overthrow.
and
If
when
you
you're
have-
speaking and when
if you
you're
got
speaking
popular-
about
if you got
I don't
popular
believe in
support,
the
right?
overthrow, right?
And
If
when
it's
you're-
bad,
Popular support.
then I believe they can go in and help the folks. I don't believe in overthrowing, but if it's bad, go in and help the people.
I believe in overthrowing if you're being oppressed.
Okay, well, if you're oppressed, overthrow, but as Miss Henry would have mentioned, call elections.
Miss Henry means take whatever they give you and never overthrow. That is what Miss Henry means.
No, I
Let
would
them
never
beat
agree
you,
with that. I
let
could
them
never agree with
enslave you,
that.
let them treat
I
you
could
like
never
dogs,
agree with
and
that.
don't overthrow. That is Miss Henry's stance.
After you
Because if you're
overthrow, you
treating the
must go
people
plan.
bad, to me, you should be.
And when
you
Miss
should be
Henry,
ousted.
when Miss Henry is speaking about elections, that guy up there where that has a problem with Europe. What's that place with Russia? What's that place up there where
Ukraine?
the Ukraine? The United States and the EU are saying he should not call elections until his country stabilizes. You see the difference?
Yes.
You see the difference? And nobody's
should
saying
call-
that
who
he
should
should.
call-
Also Israel. Israel should call election. Is Netanyahu calling election? Is the rest of the
No,
world?
but
Look, this is why. This is why. This is why the established media around the world has no credibility. And this is why even people who come and bring farcical things are getting through, which is wrong. But the world media has been following one another, pushing an agenda and following and giving us bad news. Look at the news they've been bringing out about Abraham Traore recently, that he's taken all the gold for his defense. America's defense budget increased by trillions this year. You understand?
But you don't have to.
So America has a right to take their budget and put it into arms and defense, but not an African country. Anyway.
In an African country, of course they need defense, but there also has to be development.
Well, development will come when you overthrow a depressive system like Traore did, and you make sure you start implementing roads, agriculture, everything.
Yeah, I just pray it doesn't become a dictatorship, because after a while,
it is just that they want to
that's what happens. And I pray that what's happening now that we see is good, because he, as Quint would have mentioned, I see he invested in the agriculture sector, he invested in the health sector.
That's very good.
So he's doing things to uplift his country, which
he made
I appreciate.
education free, completely free.
All of that.
The people would want participation.
Yeah, and I also saw a story where somebody tried to bring money in to infiltrate the soldiers, but the soldiers reported that person. I don't know what happened to that person. I don't even want to know what happened to that person, because I can only imagine.
Caller.
But, yeah.
Good morning.
Before I go, yesterday my good friend Greg was talking about putting the blame for the death from the COVID on Team Unity. Well, I have been looking at the number of deaths, There is a register of all those who took the vaccine.
Yes.
I was thinking what Greg should be asking for is for the government health department to match the names of these people passing against the list. However, if they have not had an autopsy, it might be difficult. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you could say that of the 800 who died, 600 or 700 were vaccinated, whether 1 dose, 2 dose, 3 dose. Because you just cannot be making wild claims. Statistics are there, available. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So when Greg was saying, it sounds good to say it, because he is one of the conspiracy theorists ever since. They now have the measles outbreak, sending it to other countries, and they're still trying to figure out how do we stop the spread of measles. Oh, people do what they want to do.
But
People do what they want to do.
Sylvine, didn't I hear some years ago that they were down here saying that they gave some injections that were to eliminate measles completely or something like that? Years ago?
No, they're giving you measles injections since you're small.
Well, maybe it's not measles. Maybe it's that.
I think there was the, the one that affects something big.
Something, I can't remember.
Yeah, something big. I remember.
We have a next call on the line. Let's not forget him, okay?
Yeah.
No, I'm just...
It's Greg.
No, ain't Greg. It's not Greg.
It's McMahon.
Mr. McMahon. Yeah, so I forgot what it is, but something big. And they were giving it. And I took my daughter up to the hospital. And they were offering it. They told her, not my child. Because what was being said scientifically about it.
Yes.
So it wasn't any force.
Was it hepatitis? Actually, if it was hepatitis.
She can hear you.
Have that man go come in.
Yeah.
No, he can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear him? He was asking if it was hepatitis.
She's already hung up.
Oh, she hung up? Okay.
So, Mr. McMahon, you have the floor.
Actually, what she was saying, it would be interesting to do the research on that, and we can do it. We can do it.
Yes.
We can, look at the cause of death, because at least your death certificate would have on cause of death, and look at whether or not these people were vaccinated, had the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
Right. It would be interesting to do, but as usual, we wait for some other country to make the pronouncement on it, instead of doing a simple thing like that itself. I mean, it may not be conclusive, but it would be an interesting fact to know.
Information. Yeah.
Right. With regards what you're talking about with Russia, the debate between Russia and the West,
China,
etc.,
yes.
etc. Yeah. A Russian commentator made a comment which I totally agreed with, and that was the European nations are the ones responsible for practically all the conflict in the world now.
Yes.
Okay? Right? Well, you say yes, but not everybody agrees with that.
Well, they're not going to agree, but I
they're
agree.
saying they're colonialist practices, colonialism practices, is the cause of the conflict, and how they resolved it, whether by walking away or partitioning and that sort of thing, caused problems.
Yeah.
Right? And whether you can think of Palestine, what happened in Palestine, because Britain in particular was the one who had jurisdiction over the territory when they created Israel. You can think of the Kashmir issue between India and Pakistan.
Yeah.
Look at all how Africa was divvied up, etc., etc. Okay?
Do you remember even the Falkland problem we had some years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go all the way from England to the Falklands.
Yeah.
To show that they're in charge. It was ridiculous. And America, the United States, even though it was not a colonial power, it certainly can be said it was an imperial one.
Yes.
Remember when I forget the admiral's name, but he sailed into Japan with a flotilla and told the Japanese it would be good if we trade, because before that the Japanese were very inward looking.
Yeah.
Okay, and that really opened up Japan. Okay, so even though it wasn't a colonial power, it certainly had imperialist tendencies, and I saw a report too which said that they have hundreds of military bases around the world.
Yeah.
The only country that has that. Okay, so if you really wanted to save money, you could close down a number of those bases.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think right now it's about maintenance of empires.
Yes,
essentially.
it is.
Right, nobody want to lose any ground insofar as that, and this is where we have to then make a choice between, exactly what to do in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to walk a very nuanced foreign policy, and the reason why I wouldn't trust any of them, to be quite honest, either Russia, China.
I agree with you.
None of them.
I agree with
Right?
you. But you see, there is a saying that sometimes you're in a position where you choose the better of two evils. It's not a good position, but hey.
Well, but you can argue what is the better of two evils, because if all the evils want to essentially enslave you,
Give me one example, Mr. McMahon. Give me one example of a place that has been enslaved by Russia, colonialized by Russia. anything like that by Russia.
No, no, no. When I said enslave,
Okay.
I am using it in a
A
way
broad
that,
context.
well, it is meaning basically control. I would say control.
Yeah, because it's a form of
Okay.
slavery. We just not chained up.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
Right. It's de facto slavery. But what I'm saying is that we should try and maintain balance between them. If we go too far on one side, we probably get squeezed one way. If we go too far the other side, similarly.
In the
So we have to
Caribbean,
have a nuance.
in the Caribbean,
I'm talking the Caribbean.
I agree with you. In the Caribbean, we are in that position, but in Africa, that is not the case.
But I don't understand, right? If Russia doesn't want to overtake or whatever, why is he fighting with Ukraine then?
Because America
well-
wants to put a base there.
In Ukraine?
Yes, America feels
No,
it
Ukraine
is
has
the
I-
only.
nothing to do
I'm
with
not
Not,
it.
not
America.
America. The NATO,
EU, the
NATO,
EU.
yeah,
NATO,
NATO,
yeah.
NATO.
What?
They seem to be the only ones who want to have a right to put bases here and there. Recently, there's this young fella in Africa from the opposition party who has been saying, when you look at how Europe puts bases all over, he asked the question, will America allow Russia to put a base in Cuba with missiles aimed at America? But look at what America does. She puts missiles in your proximity with missiles aimed where she wants them to be. And no one must say we don't want that.
But you realize, I mean, we had gotten accustomed to essentially the status quo, meaning that, yes, there's this, shall we call it, lukewarm war between the East and the West. Okay, at least there was some semblance of stability. But now it's like everything is unraveling.
Yeah.
And we have to remember, the World War was only about, 50-something years ago?
Around there.
That's a pretty short time in human history. And so while our generation was getting accustomed to peace, in inverted commas, it is a fact that we could easily revert back to how it was, right? And we've seen that now with these wars, proxy wars, and what's happening in the Middle East and so on, right? And we have to wonder whether or not the United Nations really should be disbanded, because they're ineffective in preventing these things. You know, why, for instance, should a resolution be passed years and years ago to resolve the Middle East issue, and nothing has become of it, and every now and again you have this flare up of conflict. I mean, why is that?
Look,
Okay, and the same can be said about other areas of conflict in the world. They're allowed to fester. They're never finally resolved, and so next generation we can look forward to more conflict.
the United
I would have thought, in the scheme of human progress, we would have been going towards ending these.
But they do
But it
not
doesn't
want.
seem-
But Mr. McMahon, there's a hard fact that we especially as black people do not seem to want, especially in this part of the world, do not want to admit. Europe and the developed world do not want a balance. They do not want us as a black people to reach on their level. You can hedge it, you can try to sugarcoat it, you can try to twist it, spin it however you want, but you think 400 years and counting of this oppression, and they want to continue it is coincidence?
But the thing is, if you concentrate too much on race.
I must
you miss the
concentrate
point.
on race. That is the
No,
problem.
no.
I have to
No,
concentrate on race. If
Prince,
I do not
Prince,
concentrate on race, they will annihilate my race. For my own
Prince,
survival, I must concentrate on race.
but what I'm saying is, it's more about maintaining hegemony, maintaining their leadership in the world, and whether that come from black people or Oriental people or Indian people, whatever race it is, the race part doesn't matter. It's more the fundamental thing in this thing
Here is where
economics.
here is where I disagree. Here is where I disagree with you. I hear what you're saying, but here is where I disagree with you. What race is the dominant ruling faction in the world for the last 400 years of our oppression? What race?
Right.
What race? Are you afraid to say the race, the color of the race?
That's what I said. I said the Caucasians, white.
Okay, because I was wondering if you were so afraid,
Yeah.
So yes, they
Straight
are.
out.
So for you to say that race doesn't matter, it matters because whereas I hear what you say in a utopian world that would fit, but in the world of reality that we live in, the Caucasian race has oppressed every other race.
But what I'm saying is that is true, but the oppression would still be there if, for instance, let's look at Latin people in Latin America, right? Or let's say India. Okay. You think if India rose to the point where it was challenging the West, you think they'd have good relations? They'll become antagonistic.
You mean
Okay.
have good relations with whom?
Right now, they have good relations with the West.
Yes.
India,
Yeah.
right? But they're a billion people, over a billion people. Do you think if they rose to the prominence of let's say a Western nation like the United States, you think they're going to be friends?
No, but that is my point.
Exactly.
But you see,
but that's the point. Exactly.
But here's the point.
And it
that
has nothing to do with race. Similarly, remember there was antagonism. Remember there was antagonism.
It has to do with race.
West
It has to
and
do
Russia,
with race.
but Russia is white as well,
And
right? And they for a long time, those were regarded and still is as the enemy, even though they were of the same race. It is not about race primarily. It is about economics, right?
yes,
That's what it is.
yes,
How else would you explain
I
the antagonism to Russia then?
I agree with you to some extent because you want ultimate wealth and power, the ability to
Yes,
control, it
that's
goes
what
down
it's
to
about.
finances. But there's another part of it. The other aspect of it is that anyone of a darker pigmentation is looked at as inferior. And you do not want these inferior people to come up onto your level and perhaps surpass you. We cannot deny that.
That is true. Of course, you can't deny it.
Okay.
But in the grand scheme of things, right? We are nowhere close. Our race is nowhere close to parity with in terms of economics with the first world. Okay.
I agree.
And so we're secondary. And I would suggest that we look inward and see if we can't, as a collective race, Africa, and wherever there's black people, okay, to do more to uplift our image as just corrupt and
And I
not
agree with you.
concerned.
I agree with you there too.
Those kinds of things.
Yes, I agree with you there
Exactly.
too. Those are some
Because
of the
that's
things
the-
that have been keeping us down.
Right, and those are things that we can actually control.
Yes, I agree
Okay.
with you 100% on that.
So then, wouldn't you also agree that should be the primary consideration as opposed to fighting the rest of the world, who I agree with you, look down on us, okay? But they look down on us because we are weak, we are weak militarily,
Yes.
economically, and in terms of our social organization,
And that
our
is
governance, and those kinds of things.
and that is the
So I'm
reason.
saying if we fix those things,
Yes,
if we look inward and fix those things, then we will garner more respect.
I agree.
They'd have no choice but to respect us.
And one of the things that I said to Sylvie, and I always say, if we're going to do what you said, which I agree, we must learn to finish with this following the status quo, getting into corruption and blah, 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 and learn to unite as a people. But it seems as if those Sylvian and others don't feel that we can unite. I feel that we can unite. If we do not
No,
unite,
I don't agree with that.
if we do not
Of
unite,
course we can reunite.
yeah. So if we do not unite, then we will never reach
But
the
why-
level that we would like to
Why
reach.
have we not united yet, though? Simply, let's look at the closest Caribbean island to us that continues to have fighting, Haiti. Why is it Mr. Barbecue can't get everybody a
Haiti is not a good example
No,
to
but
use.
why not?
No, she,
No.
she has a point.
Why
You
not?
got, you got, you got
They're
to
all
look.
the same
Haiti
color.
is not.
Almost
Yeah.
all of
Haiti,
them are the same
Haiti
color.
is not a good example to use.
No.
Use any other country in the
No,
Caribbean
why?
but
Why,
Haiti.
why shouldn't she use Haiti?
Because
That is
Haiti.
the prime
Look,
example.
Okay.
That
Exactly.
is the
All of
prime
them are the same
example to
color.
use.
okay, let me show you.
Because-
Let me
Because
give you.
see,
Let me give
because
you.
White,
Let me
because-
give you
because
one of the.
white people are not
Hello.
in control.
Hi,
of Haiti.
caller.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Good
day.
morning to you,
Good day.
Hortensia. Good morning, Quint.
Good day, Africa. Africa, before you continue, let me give you one point where you cannot use Haiti as an example. The United States of America went into Haiti and changed the Haitian constitution from where a white or any only individual of black could get land and so forth. Not only that, here's what they did. They went into the coffers of the Haitian economy at the time, which was the number one in the Caribbean region, you understand, and took all their gold. This is the United States of America, you
And
know.
I get that, but
This is
the whole point is who they are killing does not look like
Yes,
the
but
average Caucasian.
what I am saying is
Exactly.
this was done systematic. Look, you all don't
I
understand.
understood what was done to
we
them,
cannot- we
I
cannot-
understood what was done to them, but all I'm saying, they're killing people that looks exactly like them.
Because America is
We
helping
cannot-
to
we
finance
cannot-
it. Because America and certain factions of
So
the
why
world
can
are
we not-
helping to finance it. They come in
We
one
cannot
breath. They
use-
come in
we
one
cannot
breath.
use-
They come in
cannot
one
use
breath.
the old practices. The
I am-
old bad practices.
I am saying
colonial
presently,
and all that time
presently.
as
You think-
as excuses.
You think
That's what I'm
America?
saying.
You think America
You
isn't
said
helping
that
to
America
finance?
changed the Constitution. You say America changed the Constitution. What the black people in Haiti is in charge now. Why can't they change the Constitution now?
Exactly.
can't
Somebody's
put
lacking
no
somewhere.
difference
The same
on
color.
America.
They cannot, because when they had Aristide, who would have changed the Constitution, what did America do?
Okay, well, so you had bad leadership. So why don't you change the leadership?
I said when they had Aristide, who the Haitian people wanted, and he would have changed the Constitution, what did the United States of America do? You all don't know your history. This is recent history. Africa, you can come in.
Hi, good morning, Quint. Good
Yes.
morning to you, Hortensia. Good morning, Mr. McMahon.
Morning.
And good
Good
morning to
morning.
all the listeners at home and abroad. Yes, race first. It is because of we don't put race first, why that we're so divided and so segmented. And that is what they use. In subliminal messages, we will become demise, we will be our own demise in more ways, in organization, in segmentations of who we are as segmented people. And not realizing that, for instance, in Germany, some people were silent until it knocked on the door that, hey, you're next. That was a segmented community. And it is the same thing that is happening over and over. Mr. McMahon and Quint touched on Russia I just want to touch on it a little bit because we know that Russia sold Alaska to the U.S. And so at the Berlin Conference in 1884, 1885, Russia was present. And I agree with Mr. McMahon. I'm not going to lean too far on the right or too far on the left. Because if you do the flip coin, if it falls on heads or it falls on tails, it speaks of the two giants. And there are going to be more giants, but it speaks of the two giants in the room, the East and the West. So within our diplomacy, we need to walk a balanced line. Of course, we can benefit from Russia as well as we can benefit from the U.S. But not to really solely put your eggs in one basket for America.
The problem, though, Africa, is that
Russia.
there's no third world. There's
Because
no
when they sat at the
third
Berlin
world
Conference,
now.
there
There's
was
no
a
non-aligned
agenda.
Africa. You and Mr. McMahon are speaking together, so you cannot.
No, I was just saying that there's no non-aligned movement now to get that balance. What he thinks about that?
Africa.
Yes.
He
So
asks
I
what
agree.
you think about.
I agree with walking in the middle, and then through diplomacy, you can benefit because where we are at right presently now, we need developments, we need the technology, we need the wherewithal to set up, to train our children in technical institutions and the like. But until then, it is a tough thing. And I listen to the sentiments of our own people will be and the demise of the unification because we have not gotten beyond to see that it is a set agenda and we our own selves will be used against the demise of our own people and the next generation because here is it and it's by any means necessary because even though there is a democracy and where the Saharan states took over, revolutions would always be a thing of progressive thinking going forward. When people are oppressed the way people are oppressed, they're going to do things. They're going to agitate in more ways than one. And thus, a revolution will be one of those ways that people will agitate for to bring about a better. Come on, the Saharan states are the poorest states, let's say, on the continent of Africa. Why no one would want to applaud Abraham Traore and his efforts to bring about food sufficiency, okay, to bring about free education for the children, to bring about housing for the populace, and all the good things that he's doing, in spite of how he got there. In spite of it, the fact remains that he's doing a tremendous job of saying...
But do you think his reign will ever become a dictatorship? Do you think it's in jeopardy of that happening?
What can you define the word dictatorship for me? It depends on how you define the word, because some other democratic nations do dictate the way they do things, the way Trump is doing the executive order. It is a form of dictatorship.
Yes, we see that. We know that.
You understand the point?
No, but I would suggest there is we should not depend on one man to bring about our salvation. We have to look at the system itself, because a man is just transient. He could change tomorrow or 10 years from now, and then what? Somebody comes back with the same kind of corrupt tendencies as before, and the whole thing unravels again. Right? And I'm saying that what should really happen, is that the systems of governance and so on that African states have should change to a more democratic situation where you have checks and balances. We cannot depend on no strong man, no one man to do this. Can't happen. It's not going to happen. Right? We have to develop systems. We have to develop systems that are going to make sure that regardless of the person who is president or prime minister or whatever it is, okay, there are enough checks and balances to make sure that our country cannot devolve into dictatorship. And when you ask us to define dictatorship, dictatorship essentially means it ultimately means that there is a dictator and one man rule. We don't want that in our system. We got to get that out of our system. This strongman thing, okay, this one man thing.
And you see, Mr. McMahon, I agree with you again to some extent. But you see, it is because of that rhetoric where you're so adamant we don't, and that is what the West uses. The West uses that and then comes in with an individual like Trowe who is doing something, and to stop him from advancing, they just want to kill him.
Yes, but why can't if he's so popular, why can't he go for some sort of ratification process with the people?
You see, so,
Mr. McMahon. What's wrong with that?
Mr. McMahon, you're living in an unrealistic world. If he does,
what's unrealistic about that?
If he does that and he stands on his own and just depends on him and his people without any backing from anywhere else, the West will go in and just kill him. This is why he has linked up with China and Russia. Because now you will think whether you're gonna have to do it in a way that it doesn't point a finger at you.
What kind
yes,
of
but
revolution is that?
So what you're gonna do? Just steady and put your hands up and let people kill you? You are not living in a real world. You're not living in a real world.
What kind of revolution is it that if one man is killed, the revolution ends? Do you see the shallowness of it?
This is not one man. You all keep forgetting that 3 nations did what some people feel cannot happen. They're united. They are united. They even went so far.
If the 3 of them are united, then why they need the external forces then? Why can the 3 of them not?
Because you all are living in a fantasy world. Those 3 little nations cannot stand up against the wealth of Europe and the United States of America. They cannot.
But at least they are trying, and we have to show solidarity, irrespective of how they got there. The solidarity has to be centered around them.
And I get
and
that.
Because of the unification, they all agree that Abraham Traore, and he's like, because he's young and dynamic and so forth, he's on the spotlight of the 2 others. But albeit, we should not hammer in like, oh, what is one man? Yeah. If it's going to be a united Africa, it must be one president.
And it must.
There's one president in the United States.
And there's
one
president.
One president. Because since I've been here, the Africa Unite song, and they're still not united. Because when I saw the documentary with him, they're comparing him to taking a menial salary to the other presidents that are in Africa that have the fancy limousines, dressing in the fancy suit, getting the big $100,000 and something a year. They need to get.
And what he did with his salary, he decided to do with his salary to take care of the orphans. Those who don't have parents anymore because of war, their father might have been on the front line fighting the jihadists, and they, and take care of the orphans.
And it's one man. It's one man under a constitution and rule of law. Don't forget that, right? That's the whole point.
Don't forget what? I stepped out for a minute. I didn't hear your point.
You said that the United States have one president, etc.
Not
what
me.
I'm saying,
Africa said that. Yeah.
It was Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, there's one man, one president at a time, but that president must operate under certain checks and balances and rule of law. Okay? And so it's not just one man with his say alone. Okay? He has to have some kind of support coming from somewhere in order to get whatever his agenda is through. And I'm saying that should
But
be the
Mr.
same
McMahon,
thing.
Mr.
We should not
McMahon,
have a
though.
dictatorship
Anyway,
where whatever they say.
Anyway, let me interject. We're gonna have as juicy as this topic is, and I'm enjoying the debate. We are gonna have to segue because we have another with some nurses coming up. So we can always continue this conversation anytime you feel. You pick it back up and we
All right,
run
then.
with it again. Okay?
Okay, thanks for listening.
Okay.
Thank you for your contribution.
Yes. So we're gonna take a bit of a commercial break and we'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Let TDC Financial Services help you go for your goals. Whether you're thinking of taking that grand vacation, down payment on a house, higher education, TDC Financial Services has various plans that will allow you to go for your goals. Choose from the Accumulator Plus, Investment Starter Plan, and Fixed Deposit. Ready to go for your goals? Visit us at TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Tune in to Creative Voices, the ultimate radio call-in program where innovation meets inspiration. Join me, Dr. Sarah Owen, as I welcome brilliant Caribbean creatives and innovators for engaging sessions that promise to spark your creativity. Don't miss this unique opportunity to interact with our guests, ask your burning questions, and gain insights that could elevate your own creative endeavors. Tune in every other Friday from 10 a.m. to midday. Get inspired. Let your voice be heard. Mark your calendars and prepare to embark on a journey of creativity and innovation with Creative Voices.
Been thinking about going back to school? Now's the time with DeVry University's Bridge to Brilliance initiative. Qualified Caribbean professionals can earn a U.S. degree 100% online with up to 50% tuition savings and flexible payment plans. DeVry offers over 50 programs built for busy adults, whether you're looking to change careers, earn a promotion, or finally finish what you started. Study business, healthcare, tech, or project management on your schedule around your life. There's up to 50% tuition savings. The application fee will be waived. It's fully online and flexible. There's stackable credentials and start dates every 8 weeks. Restrictions apply. Visit partner.devry.edu/Caribbean today to learn more. You've supported others. Now it's your time.
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on WinFM 98.9 for Weekly Dose. During this 30-minute health discussion, we aim to educate and empower our listeners on the prevention of diseases, early diagnosis, and timely intervention. Don't miss out on this informative health talk where we teach you to live your best life. Weekly Dose, Tuesdays on WinFM 98.9.
Hey, have you heard about the water shortage in our area? Yeah, it's pretty serious. I've been trying to conserve water as much as possible. Me too. I've started taking shorter showers and turning off the faucet when I brush my teeth. But that's great. Another way to save water is to fix any leaks in your house. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. How much water can a leak waste? A small leak can waste up to 20 gallons of water daily, which can really add up over time. Wow, that's a lot. And have to check for any leaks in my house. But another good tip is to only run your dishwasher and washing machine when they're full to save water and energy. I'll keep that in mind. It's important that we all do our part to conserve water, especially during this shortage. Absolutely. Every drop counts.
This message was brought to you by the St. Kitts Water Services Department. Learn more at water.gov.kn.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea. And with me in our studios, I have Nurse Nisa Tyson. Nisa Tyson, sorry. She is the president of the St. Kitts Nursing Association. They have a week of activities, so she will enlighten us on those. Good morning, Nurse Tyson, and welcome to Island Tea.
Good morning to you, yourself. This morning, I want to say good morning to St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm not here. Okay. Good morning. I want to say good morning to my island people, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good morning from the St. Kitts Nurses Association and to every nurse in the health centers, at the nursing homes, in the hospital. Pleasant good morning. You are champions. This morning we are here to discuss some of the activities that we have coming up. This month is Nurses Month. Monday, the 12th of May, is Nurses Day. But we are having a month of activities. So joining me this morning will be the Vice President, Ms. Shanika Henry and Jamisha Henry. They are on their way. But in the meantime, I can say a few things before they come. We have a packed calendar for the nurses because nurses work hard. We invest in ourselves, we invest in healthcare, we invest in our communities and in our patients. And this is our month to enjoy ourselves, our month to have our own activities, and we are inviting the community to join with us also.
So you don't enjoy yourself any other month?
Yes, we do.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yes, we do, but we go out on this month because this is our month. This is our time.
Okay,
yes,
no
so we do a little extra in this time.
Okay. So can you mention some of the activities before your other colleagues
Yes,
get here?
sure.
Okay.
For today, this is one of the activities to enlighten the public what is happening in the nursing faculty.
Okay.
On the 10th, which is Saturday coming, we have a movie night, and this movie night is just not an ordinary movie night. It's a pajama and pillow movie night. And we are saying, come out in your pajamas with your pillow.
Are you concerned that people will fall asleep? Because pajamas and pillow means sleep.
I believe they will be excited because it's an exciting movie. Okay. It's a family movie.
Okay.
Yes, that is showing, and we are saying, come on out, support us at the movies, come and tell them you're part of the nursing association activities. Yes, and you come Saturday night and enjoy the movie with us.
What time does the movie start?
The movie starts at 6:50 p.m.
6:50. Where will it be?
At the Caribbean Cinemas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We are collaborating with them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right, you can continue, nurse.
And then on the 11th, drum roll.
Sunday.
On the 11th, Sunday, yes, at 5:30, we gather at Lathac Road. Okay. And we are going to gather there to have a march, to the Zion Moravian Church. There is where we have our official opening of Nurses Week.
Okay.
That's on the 11th, on Sunday evening. That's our official opening that we declare Nurses Week open.
Okay.
Right.
You can continue on.
And then on Monday the 12th of May, we have our Nurses Day. That's the official Nurses Day.
Okay.
Monday the 12th of May. And on this day, we are saying to the community, if there's a special nurse who you know was kind to you, even if she's a nurse within the community, and you want to give that girl, that nurse, a gift package, a postcard to say thank you, a welcome note, some sort of appreciation, we are saying to the public, hey, on this day, go out, send out a note on the radio to big up your nurse, to big up your favorite nurse, to big up that nurse that has done something for you. Send them a postcard, a perfume set, a gift set, whatever it is. We are saying to the general public, Nurses Day is on the 12th. Celebrate your nurses. Go all out. Do something for your nurses. And then at midday, we have a luncheon for the nurses at the JNF flamboyant area.
Okay.
And then we have a token for them also.
Okay.
Yes.
Will you be honoring any of the past nurses or any of the
Right.
current nurses?
Right, we will get to that part.
Okay.
Right, and then on the 13th, we have community outreach. And this outreach, we are going out in the communities and we are going to look for those nurses who has retired and now at home and able to move. And we want to say to them, thank you for your service. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your dedication. So we are going out to visit them and show them our appreciation and that they have made an impact and we have not forgotten them.
Okay, good stuff.
Right? And then on the 14th, we have our symposium. That symposium is from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the NEMA building. We have different topics that are going to be discussed. And it's a registration fee of $85. So even if you're not a nurse and you want to come to the symposium, we have a link that we are going to send out and you could register to be a part of the symposium.
Okay.
So we are saying to all nurses, register, be a part of the symposium. Come and let us revive you. Come and be educated. Come and be a part, just be a part of the activities.
You mentioned even though we're not nurses, we can register for this symposium.
Yes.
Can we pay online? Is there
Yes.
somewhere we can go?
Right.
Can
You register online and you pay online.
Okay. And where online do you register?
We have a online site that you can go to. When we send out the activities, we send out the link with the activities. So you click on the link and it'll give you all the instructions.
Okay. All right.
Right. And space is running out, so nurses, register quickly, register fast. We need to see you. We need to have your presence on that day.
Okay. Any collaboration with the nurses in Nevis?
They are having their own Nurses Week, but we have a huge conference coming up in October of 2026.
Okay.
And we are collaborating with them then to host this conference in St. Kitts. That you will hear about that a little later.
Yeah.
But we correspond with them. They're doing their own set of activities, and we're doing our own, but we still correspond.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yes.
So are those all the activities you?
No, on the 16th now, on the 16th is the spin class ride. Power up. Time for you to exercise. Boost yourself. Drop some of those calories, get the cholesterol down, get the heart rate at good level. And that is $20 per person.
Yeah, that's a good rate.
Yes, that's a good rate.
And where will the spin class be?
At the, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So the spin class would be.
Don't worry, we all have that. Sometimes I have it right at hand and then I can't find it again.
Yes, that's it.
I'm just trying to get everybody in on the information.
Okay, it's at the Light Fitness Center.
Light Fitness Center
Yes.
in Bird Rock. Okay.
Yes, Bird Rock, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes. So come on out, get a sweat, get a good sweat, burn up some calories, and get your heart rate going.
Yeah. And this is for the nurses?
This is for the nurses.
Okay, all right.
Good.
All right.
And then on the 24th, we have trivia competition.
Okay.
So each department, health center, hospital department, you register with a set of nurses. You give yourself a name, and you register. We sent out a study guide via the email of those who registered, and we're having the competition on that day. So whoever win, we are going to give you a prize, and you can brag about your win. You can boast about your win. Most of these activities are activities that was never done before. It's something new that we are trying out to get our nurses, get them in the fun, get them active again, encourage them, because a lot is happening and a lot is going on, and so we want to encourage our nurses. We want to make them feel special and have fun.
Okay. The teams for the trivia competition, how many persons per team?
We have 3 teams so far. Each team will have 4 representatives.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So we have 3 teams so far, but the registration is still open for persons to register.
Okay. All right.
And then on the 31st, On the 31st, we have a planned gala.
I was just
and
going to ask if you're
award
dressing
ceremony.
up. Okay.
Yes. So on the 31st, we have a planned gala and an award ceremony. And we are going to award nurses who have retired, but that wasn't awarded.
Yes.
And we are going to award nurses in areas like best team player, yes, the most valuable team player, the nurse who most valuable team player,
most improved
nurse, those type of awards we are going to give on the 31st. It's not only an award, it's a time for the nurse to let down her hair, dress up herself pretty, look nice, and come on out and enjoy herself.
What about those nurses? Because we know the hospital has to be attended at all times. We know the health center closes at a certain time.
Right.
What about those nurses that has to be up there and miss the gala? Because, you know, some of us...
Very good. Very good. At this point, it to be difficult sometimes because the hospital is a 24-hour system and we have to leave nurses there. But what we do in that regards, we ensure that these nurses get their gifts, and if there's an award for a nurse who has to be working, the matron will work that out so that nurse could be available to attend the award.
Nice.
And those that did not attend the award will able to get a gift token, whatever was given at the award.
Okay, all right. Because I know some jobs like the airport, like the hospital, some of the crew members are guaranteed to not be able to attend whatever is happening.
And that's with nursing because we are 24 hours. Yes, that happens, but we make preparation for them. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So is there any other thing you would want us to know about when it comes to, you said it's Nurses Month, right?
Yes,
the entire
Nurses
month is for
Month.
nurses.
Right.
Any other event that or you would have missed out that you would like to let us know about?
We are collaborating with Development Bank on the 17th. They're having their mental health walk, and we are collaborating. Yes, we are collaborating with them to be there as medics, just in case anything happens to anyone. We are there. We are collaborating. We are coming out as a nursing association. We are not staying silent anymore. We are coming out to the communities, to the private sectors, and we are saying, collaborate with the association, you know, so that we can do business in the future. So Development Bank is one of the companies that we have started with, and this is our contribution to them.
Okay.
And so, go ahead.
No, I was letting you finish. How important is it for collaboration within the health sector and the public sector? I wouldn't even say private, because I'll include private and everybody, but how important do you think the collaboration is?
I believe that the collaboration is very important because it's a way that we can reach out to the public and to the community and to tell them that, hey, there's an organization that is here, and we not only support nurses, we have community outreach where we outreach to the elderlies, the homes, the children homes, you know. We go, we visit, we give a gift or a gift package, or just to be at the schools, encouraging the schools, the children, teaching on sexual activities, what they're supposed to do to protect themselves, teenage pregnancy. So it's important, and we are non-governmental organization, and sometimes we need sponsorship for certain activities that we're having. So the collaboration will help in these areas.
Okay.
And if we want to give back to the community and we don't have to collaborate with the private sector, will help us to do that.
Okay. All right, good stuff. We know the nursing profession is a caring one.
Yes.
I don't want to say it's dying, but would you say that the interests of both young men and women in the nursing faculty, is it growing or is it dwindling?
Repeat again.
Okay. So, as I said, I don't want to say nursing is a dying profession because we need nursing, we need the care in the hospital.
Right.
But has there been an increase interest in nursing?
Okay, for
on both female and male? Yeah.
Okay, for the male, there's been an increase.
Okay, good
We
stuff.
are now having males from Philippines island working with us.
What about
Cuba.
our local ones?
And now in our local setting, we're seeing that males coming from the CFB College, come from the CFB College to be nurses. At the CFB College, we have at least, yes. Presently, at the CFP College, we have at least 4 male students that is in training that will soon finish in nursing. And so we have seen an increase in the admission of males to nursing. We have seen a slight increase in the female also to nursing. Some people feel that nursing is hard, the studying is hard, the sacrifice is too much, but we are encouraging the young people, come into nursing. It's a noble profession. When you look after somebody who is ill and you look at that person and the person feel better, they begin to function better. That gives you such good feeling. You feel like, hey, I have accomplished something. I've made somebody well. I've made a family to smile. Let me give you an example. If somebody comes to you and they're feeling ill, and let's say maybe a heart attack, and you're the nurse, start intervention, you save that person, you save that mother, you save that child, you save them from stress, from worry, from wondering, from even financial strain, because you now prevent that person from death. And we all know heart attack is very dangerous, right? And so it's early intervention, save life. And so if you have a nurse that can do that for a client or for a patient, you help a whole family in so many different areas.
Got you. Hi, nurse. Welcome. Can you introduce yourself?
Thank you. So I apologize for my tardiness, but my name is. Good morning. I apologize for my tardiness. My name is Shanika Henry. I am the Vice President of the St. Kitts Nurses Association.
Yeah, and I'm very familiar with Shanika. Shanika was one of the campers when I was a dorm leader back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm happy to see that she is in the profession. When I saw her in a little blue, I'd be like, oh, that's so sweet that she's in there. So,
yes.
So Ms. Henry, I'm going to be professional. What do you have to add to what Nurse Tyson would have said this morning?
So just to reiterate what Nurse Tyson would have said, we are having a month of activities for Nurses Week this year, and the month of activities commences on a Sunday, which is our grand opening with the church service at the Zion Moravian Church. And we're encouraging all nurses, all levels of nurses, retired nurses as well, nurses who are in private practice as well, to come on out and support the nursing fraternity. We are also inviting the general public as well. For one of the activities we are also begun to having on the 11th, yes, that is this church service, but prior to the church service, we usually have a march. So the nurses, we are going to have a little parade at from the Lozak Road to the Zion Moravian Church. That's before the church service. And it's something that used to happen before, but for some reason it died down. So we're trying to bring that back into the nursing profession, yes. Also, we're going to have Nurses Appreciation Day. And on the Nurses Appreciation Day, we're going to have the luncheon. And on the luncheon, we're going to be catering to the needs of all nurses, active, retired, and those at the institution and community centers are going to be, catered to on the Nurses Appreciation Day. As well as the other events following that would be the Nurses Symposium, and that symposium is on Wednesday the 14th. Yes, so we are calling all nurses out to come and, participate. It's going to be a packed and well educational session as well. And then the last event for that week would be the spin class, as she would have mentioned. That's going to be at the Life Fitness Center.
Yes.
I am very looking forward to that one as well. Yes, I am not a fitness expert or anything of that sort, but I foresee that it will be very, very, very exciting. So I'm calling all persons out to come and support that event as well. And the next event that we have on the calendar of events is the trivia competition. And I too foresee that that's going to be a very exciting competition as well for the nurses. We get to see what persons know, what they don't know. We may learn something. And it's going to be a very fun and exciting competition. Nothing to be afraid about, we once persons register, we will be providing them with the study guide.
Yeah, that's what I say. They
so
got
that
it
they can,
easy.
so that they can adequately prepare themselves as well,
Yes.
right? And then the last event on the calendar, which is the gala, which most persons are going to be looking forward to. That's going to be the closing of the Nurses Month event. So we are going to have the Nurses Gala. And most of the funds and the proceeds that we are going to be raising from the Nurses Week and Month events are going to be going towards our preparations for the nursing conference that we're going to be hosting next year. So next year in 2026 October, the St. Kitts Nurses Association will be hosting a nursing
In
conference.
collaboration with the
Yes, with the
Nevis Nurses Association.
Yes, in collaboration with our sister island, the Nevis Nurses Association, we'll be hosting the Caribbean Nurses Organization conference in October 2026.
So it's just St. Kitts and Nevis, or will you be inviting nurses from the other OECS
Yes,
islands?
so other nurses from within the OECS will be attending this conference.
Okay.
It's usually a well-attended conference within the region, and it so happened by chance that we were successful in our bidding
that's good.
last year. Yes, so we're definitely looking
Guyana.
forward to that.
Oh, nice.
Yes, we went to Guyana. They had the conference in Guyana last year, and we went to Guyana. We had to bid with other countries because it's about 40-something countries were there. 42 countries were there, and everybody want to host this conference because it's a prestige conference, and it there's about like 300 to 400 nurses coming into St. Kitts to be a part of this conference. So we won that bid, and so we are hosting that conference next year.
Have big shoes to fill because you have to put up all those nurses.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's good.
But we are ready. We are ready to accept the challenge.
I like that.
Yes, we're ready to accept
we
the
are.
challenge.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are ready.
All right.
We are ready.
So anything else you ladies need to add before we close out the segment?
I would just like to say a special thanks to all of our sponsors who would have contributed to the successful undertaking of the Nurses Week this year. We really, really do appreciate their support, and we do hope that we can have their support as well again in the future. And just to reiterate once more, please, nurses, nursing colleagues, whether it is you're retired, you are now working in private practice, we are encouraging all persons to come on out to support the Nurses Month initiatives and events.
Do you care to thank your sponsors publicly, or you wish not to?
Let me help her. We had sponsors from National Housing Corporation. We are saying a big, big thank you to them. We also have sponsors from National Bank, and we are saying a big, big thank you to them. We also had sponsored from
there is Island Purified Water, Nelson Spring as well.
Right.
Also Jay's Princeton Graphics and JFX Studios, Graphic In Studios. We would like to say a special thanks to them as well. And also to the special sponsors, numerous sponsors who would have donated or contributed to our Nurses Day Luncheon specifically as well.
For your gala, it's just the nurses or anyone can come?
That's just nurses.
This time.
All right. No
Yes,
problem. I was just trying to see if you had tickets for sale so we could get people interested in whatever.
Okay.
But to the public next time. I'm working on it for you.
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Alrighty. So, ladies, it was indeed a pleasure having you both in studio. Thank you for coming and educating us and the listening public about Nurses Week and encouraging others to join the nursing faculty. And all the best on your activities, and enjoy your gala, dress up, eat, just enjoy. Just enjoy. You work hard, so play a little harder this time. Yeah.
And just before we leave, I just want to say to the general public once more, celebrate your nurses. Send a bouquet of flowers, send a postcard, a thank you card, whatever it is. Celebrate a nurse. Choose your nurse and celebrate that nurse. Thanks again to the general public. Thank you to WinFM for having us. We are hoping to continue collaboration with you in the future. All right. Thank
you. We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
Been thinking about going back to school? Now's the time with DeVry University's Bridge to Brilliance initiative. Qualified Caribbean professionals can earn a U.S. degree 100% online with up to 50% tuition savings and flexible payment plans. DeVry offers over 50 programs built for busy adults, whether you're looking to change careers, earn a promotion, or finally finish what you started. Study business, healthcare, tech, or project management on your schedule around your life. There's up to 50% tuition savings. The application fee will be waived. It's fully online and flexible. There's stackable credentials and start dates every 8 weeks. Restrictions apply. Visit partner.devry.edu/Caribbean today to learn more. You've supported others. Now it's your time.
Voices has a new time. Starting Friday, January 24, tune in from 10 to 12 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Voices right after Island Tea on WinFM. Money Matters with Dr. Terrence Martin moves to Monday afternoons from 1 to 2 p.m. Inside the News on Saturday mornings, now 10 to 12 noon. Tune in to WinFM 98.9. Log on to winmediaskn.com and our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch pages. And let's go. Keep up with the news on our website and by following our Win Media SKN channel on WhatsApp. Message your comments or call WinFM at 466-0989, 662-0989, or call our U.S. numbers from anywhere, 718-285-6984, 305-921-4619, and call our sales office at 466-9586. Voices, now 10 to 12 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Money Matters, 1 to 2 p.m. Monday afternoon. And Inside the News, Saturdays, 10 to 12 noon on WinFM 98.9.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Barry, you're a winner! Give me a Give me a Barry!
Barry! Thanks, Mom and Dad. Can you buy me a drink from the canteen?
Sure, looks like the canteen uses first pay from CIBC Caribbean. Ready, Dad?
Give me a first.
First!
Give me a pay.
Pay! You like that, Jabari? Jabari?
For quick transfer with just an email, mobile number, or QR code, use First Pay from CIBC Caribbean. Visit CIBCCaribbean.com/ways to bank for more information.
The importance of co-parenting. Every child has the right to bond with the parents that gave them life. Children are happiest when they can freely communicate and enjoy the time, talents, and lessons that each parent brings to the relationship.
We make co-parenting difficult when we focus on differences rather than what is in the best interest of our children. Parents, your relationship with each other should never affect the relationship you have with your child. Celebrate your children together. They deserve your best. A message brought to you by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
Back on Island Tea, and I was looking at one of the comments, and this is what I say. We're not bashing Mr. Trory, okay? Not at all. But we are just, well, I can say I'm just concerned. I don't want it to become a next dictatorship. He's doing well, but in doing well, if you're doing well, you should trust the process that if you have an election eventually, that the people in their right minds would see that what you're doing for your country is exceptional, and they'll decide this is who we want to lead until the next election cycle, and may the fairness continue. That's always saying. So I don't think it's bashing Mr. Traore at all.
That is what you're saying.
No, but
That
that's
is
how
what-
I feel.
Yeah, you say.
Because if my prime minister, my president is doing excellent, guess what? He's going to get my vote continuously because he's making sense. He's benefiting the people. He's benefiting the country. We're seeing growth, etc., etc. But I'm not going to vote for somebody that's just going to do nonsense.
Look, we need to understand that we live in a world where people don't have to follow the normal trend. You understand?
So we just do whatever.
The normal trend is democracy, and it works for some,
Isn't
it doesn't work
democracy
for
the right
some.
way to go, though?
Look, China is not a democracy. Russia is not a democracy.
No, we don't wanna be
Egypt,
like those.
Egypt, they are not democracies.
We don't want to be like that.
That's us. But people have a right to choose what they want. And for how I see Africa, let me tell you straight up, the way I see Africa leaning, when those African countries are liberated, they're not going to pick democracy.
But do you think all of them want to be liberated, though? Because as I mentioned before, some of the ministers actually like the way they live and life appears.
Have you seen the young people in Africa, how they're protesting and how they support Traore? The younger people?
I see it, France. I see this whole thing because after the gentleman calling and made us aware of it, I went home and I looked and I Googled and I saw all these parades. I even see the Rastafarian theocracy in Guyana is having something on behalf of him and all of that. So as I said, I listened to the documentaries to find out what is what, and that's when I realized he got him because of a coup. We have a caller. Good morning. You're live on Island T.
Good morning to everybody.
Yeah, good
And
day.
yes, greetings once more in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, I would like to really touch on the topic that you are talking about, but there are some other quick things I would like to mention, especially things locally. I remember a time when you all had on a government fellow who were pushing the plastic bag bans. And I mentioned on the program to him that when the demand is going to go up, the cost of the bags, the reusable bags, are going to go up. And he said, no. And I said to him, economics is that prices are set by supply and demand. And when the demand is going to go up, the cost is going to go up. And he was saying, no, cost, supply and demand don't set a price, which was totally contrary. Our send down price all depends. But in this case, you'll be saying up because the demand will be increasing a whole lot now. And you say, no, prices ain't based upon supply and demand. And you see now, prices of the reusable bags them have gone up, which of course make it even much more difficult and inconvenient for the poor.
What were the prices before and what are the prices now?
Well, the price was, for example, a dollar something. Now I understand it's $3 something, all of that, $3 something. Quint was saying it yesterday, and I spoke to a lady, I spoke to a girl yesterday evening, she was saying the same thing.
Yeah,
you know.
$3.
Because initially when they came in, they were free. I know they were being sold for $2 at Value Mart. That's the Horsford bags, the original bags, not the St. Kitts bags. And I know the big ones at Rams $3.95. But initially we got them free, I guess, because they were trying to phase them in.
And then there was $1, and so now they gone to $3 something. That's
But you still have the one for 60 cents and 40 cents. It's just not as big.
We're not seeing much of those.
But those don't really make sense.
That's why we're not seeing them.
Yeah, that's why I said in the introduction the bags were free. Even in
I'm saying the plastic bags were free. We wouldn't have
the
had
plastic
to buy
bags were never
for $3
free.
something.
Them plastic bags costs were worked into everything that we bought.
Yeah.
Nothing is free, Greg. Nothing is free.
Okay, fair enough.
But I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Yes, and I'm saying it's make it hard enough for the poor people, especially the poor single mother. That's number and the government guy who was contradicting me. He was actually contradicting
He's gonna be on later
economics.
this month, so because he's gonna be speaking about the styrofoam, so he's gonna be on later this month.
Yeah, anyway, that's number one. Number two, we should have proper whistleblowers laws That's what we should. Oh, by the way, and we need to become a republic as quickly as possible. We need to become a republic to get some kind of semblance of some kind of true independence. Because what we have is a mock independence right now. Also, I would like to say hello, Miss Henry. You hear me up, and I'd like to hear you back up too. Good day, Miss Henry. All the best. But stop saying Paul was wrong. If you say Paul was wrong, then you're saying the other authors of the Bible, they probably was wrong too in what they wrote as well. Miss Henry accused me of spreading COVID conspiracy theories. Now, I would like to say a lot of stuff now that used to be regarded as conspiracy theories are now being said by studies to be true. You know? And, for example, I listed yesterday, I said yesterday concerning well, it says here, 6 recent papers, that is research papers. 6 recent papers show COVID vaccine harms outweigh benefits. By the article written by Steve Koch, and he showed you the link, he gave the links and so for the 6 recent papers. This article he wrote was May the 5th this year. And one of the effects was it increased the death rate. And many countries are now reporting increase in death rate since the rollout of the vaccine, significant increase in the death rate. And this was known all the way back since they were rolled out. This was known in 2021. And I remember one time the Prime Minister, Dr. Cameron, Dr. Laws, and I think was somebody else was on a program, and I called him. And I said to them, hey, there are studies that are showing, and there are research that are showing that the Pfizer, for example, vaccine, they are causing heart inflammation, especially in young people. Inflammation such as myocarditis, I think pericarditis or something like that, the other one name. And I was also telling them that, hey, and it was well known as well that the AstraZeneca was causing significant blood clots and those other stuff. And before I got you with what I was saying, the click cut me off and saying I was spreading false information. Well, now Pfizer has been forced by courts to release their research and what they found out that their vaccine caused. And these things are among them, plus many more. I know of it, but since then a book came out documenting these things. The book is called The Pfizer Papers. The Pfizer Papers. Pfizer Crimes Against Humanity. Written by Dr. Naomi Wolf. You could get it at Amazon. She showed you these things as well that are documented in the Pfizer Papers themselves. Things that Miss Henry and others accuse people like us of promulgating conspiracy theories. And so I told them, and they cut me out because they didn't want to hear. And you see another reason why I blame Unity for these things. And I say, and I will say it again, I led these COVID deaths in the Federation at Unity's feet. Another reason why I said that, I'm going to say that because Unity was telling people, don't do your research, just listen to us. Listen to us, don't do your research, which is a cultic move, which is a move that cultic leaders tell their followers. Don't do your research, just listen to me. You know? So that is why I've said what I've said. And Miss Henry and people, you know, when we speak out and show what the research and so on, which are now even more confirmed. They used to say back then, and still say today, like Miss Henry said on the radio today, we are spreading conspiracy theories, which is really nonsense.
So, Paula, did you take the vaccine?
Hello?
Did you take the vaccine?
No, I did not. Thank God for that. Yes. I remember.
So you don't believe in vaccines?
Did you take the vaccine?
Yes, I did.
Well, I guess you had to your line of
So you
work
don't
and
believe
so
in
forth.
vaccines?
If I don't believe in vaccines,
Yeah.
if they're tested properly and that sort of stuff, I have no problem with it if they're tested properly. But what we were given was an experimental vaccine.
Okay. All right.
And it is still experimental because it's still experimental. And the government was denying it. When people tell them, hey, our government was denying when we tell them, hey, it is an experimental vaccine because vaccine takes something like 8 to 10 years to really come on the market. Because it had to go through a lot of years of proper research. This thing only came out in months.
Yeah. But what
It
about...
was and still is an experimental vaccine.
We see measles is breaking out in the U.S. What if it gets here? Would you take that vaccine?
What? Repeat?
The measles. We see it's breaking out in the U.S.
No, I'm not taking no vaccine for
You're
no
not taking
measles.
any vaccines for anything?
Well, if I am convinced,
You don't seem like you'll ever be
based upon my
convinced,
research, if I'm convinced that proper research and so has been done, and it has shown to be safe to proper research, I would have no problem with that.
Okay.
But I have to do my own research.
Okay.
I don't want to hear what Unity was telling me that don't do me. I do not believe in democracy, and I do not believe in the way elections are held today. Because democracy is a wrong form of theocracy. I believe in the Bible's theocracy. Democracy, even the American founding leaders used to tell you democracy eventually commits suicide.
So,
hello?
if we were to have elections in our democracy, as Quinn showed underneath, I saw there was something going around about electing your own constituents, basically. So it's not like we're going to do a unity where we know Dr. Harris would be the leader, Dr. Drew would be the leader for Labour, or whomever else is coming, and Mistress Brooks would be the leader for PAM. Do you believe in us just putting up our people and deciding which one is best suited for Prime Minister? Do you believe in that discussion?
Hold on, let me tell you the Bible is, because the Bible is the only way I believe in. For everything in life.
The Bible way is not going to work right now, Greg. So I'm asking you for the practical way.
The Bible way is the only way that is correct with reality. Okay?
That ought to be correct.
Do not tell me man's way is going to work and God's way ain't going to work.
Greg, God's way is not going to work in this world right now. We see he's begging us to come to him. He's the man begging us.
If God's way ain't working, we are on the road to destruction because nothing else going to work. And that is what Satan wants us to believe, God's way ain't going to work, so let's try some other way.
Greg, what she really meant to say is that God's way isn't going to work because we're not following God's way.
Exactly, we're not listening to the man.
That is what she meant to say.
Yeah, I know that is what she's saying, but what I'm also saying, if God's way ain't going to work because we ain't following God, nothing else going to work.
All of us are not on the same page at
only
all.
One thing can work. Only one thing can work.
Eventually.
We following God. Hello?
Eventually that one thing gonna work when God get fed up and decide, okay,
but
come, I'm bringing it to an end with the folks that are gonna listen.
Yeah, but everything is gonna take us down the road to destruction. Nothing else gonna work.
Yeah, but that's why those of us who believe in God do not follow the others to end up down the road of destruction. That's why we have two roads.
When
the
we
fat
are
one and the skinny one, the narrow and the broad.
When we are participating in the democracy and in the way of election and the sort of, we are following them. And it ain't going to work. It's going to cause division. That's why even in the churches you have all kind of political division.
That's why I was asking for the worldly version and not the Bible version. I understand with the Bible things will go well, but we don't have majority of the persons adhering to what the Bible said. So I was asking you for the worldly version.
Yeah, but nothing is going to work.
Okay, sir.
And we as Christians need to stand up and tell the world, hey, our system is only leading to destruction. This is the only way going to work. Do it the Bible way. And let me tell you the Bible's way. Because the only way going to work is the only way that is practical. Because if something is biblical, it is practical. Does not necessarily mean that something is practical, it is biblical. But once something is biblical, it is practical. And what I'm going to say is this. Well, the Bible way is put up men who meet the biblical standard. And, for example, if you have more than one person for an office, but they both meet the biblical standard, then you draw lots. Okay? And whoever the lot fall on, and the lot could come in many different forms. You could have maybe the shortest, who pull the shortest stick, or whoever did this, or whoever do that, whoever name come out of a bag or whatever. Whoever did that farming, in whichever farm you use it, that person gets chosen, is selected by the sovereign power of God. That is the Bible we're doing it. But they must first meet a biblical criteria. For example, in Exodus chapter 18, verse 21. At least that. Now, what I asked, Quint, yesterday a lady said, she prefer a thief who gives. Well, let me say, like you said, and correctly said, all are wrong. All are wrong. All should be condemned. But let me say this, though. What a lot of people forget is that the Bible says, the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 6, the Bible says, if a person steals to satisfy the hunger, don't be vexed with that person. Don't be angry with that person. Do not be vexed with that person. But that person must still pay the penalty for the stealing. It does not negate the paying the penalty for the stealing, but the Bible tells you, do not be angry with that thief if he thief to satisfy his hunger. Okay? And lastly, I would like to say that concerning the issue that y'all were talking about, like I earlier said, I do not believe in democracy because it is a wrong form of theocracy. I believe in the biblical theocracy, and I don't believe in the modern-day voting system. It's contrary to the Bible. And what is contrary to the Bible is dangerous, deadly, and fatal, and destructive. But I must also say this, though, that, like I said before, in Romans chapter 5, verses 12 to the end of the chapter, it shows you that we all have inherited an evil, wicked heart from Adam. We all are born sinners, condemned to hell, and only repentance, biblical repentance, that the blood of Christ will save us, only through that, and give us a new heart. Until then, are living with an evil, wicked heart, corrupt, perverted heart that we all inherited from Adam. Christ is the only exception.
We have another caller.
Could you ask Greg?
Greg can hear you.
He can hear you.
Okay, to explain, what exactly is the Bible's way of democracy?
Imagine, I'm going to say this before anything continues. When Pilate asked, do you want Jesus or Barabbas, which one they took? Exactly.
Barabbas.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
So the Bible's way. Let's see his version.
Yes, I've just mentioned it. Let me restate it again. The Bible's way is simply, one, there is a standard. For example, in Exodus 18, verse 21, where first of all, the person must fear God. Secondly, the person must hate bribes and all, have a track record of hating bribes and all those sort of stuff. But the first thing, they must fear God, and it must be a male. Not only that, like I said, if you have more than one person up for an office, lots are to be drawn, whichever form you use. And whoever the lot fall on, that is the one that is considered to be chosen for that position.
You mean we should gamble? We should gamble with who we choose as the leader?
Well, it is again. It is called lots, and the Bible said the lot is under the direction of the hands of God. So it is not a gamble because it is a win-win. It is a win-win because everybody who is there at least meet the biblical standard. So it does not matter who the lot fall on. It's not a gamble in that sense that you are using it. It is a win-win situation because everybody will be meeting the Bible standard. So it would not matter who the lot fall on.
But you know, certain constitutions do ban ministers from holding certain offices, right? And it's probably for a good reason. Because we are all men, we are all prone to sin. So what do you say to that, Greg?
Do you think that it's only theologians or priests or whatever you want to call them should run for office or should be in office? Should be in leadership?
Mahan, let me answer the lady's question first, Hortensia. No, Cartensia, you asked. I'm trying to remember it. No, wait, but you asked again. Sorry. You asked Cartensia?
Huh?
What was the
I
question
said,
again?
remember some countries bar ministers from holding certain offices.
Yes. Let me say this. Cartensia, the Bible says we ought to obey God rather than man. The Bible also teaches us that it has all of the laws sufficient that we need to run a country on. And we are to obey God above men. So the true constitution and the true law of all lands and of all of God's creation is the Bible. Anything man put up as the constitution or the supreme law of the land is subverting the Bible's role as such. Okay?
But a lot of our laws comes from the Bible,
all
though,
of these
Greg.
man-made. Hello?
A lot of our laws are mixed with some things from the Bible.
Well, whether they mix, yes or not, the Bible lets us know it is the law and the constitution of all of God's creation, including all countries. And if you put up something, no matter how much you try to base it on the Bible, you are subverting the Bible, because the Bible tells it is this. There is no need for you to put up anything else. Your duty is to obey it, not to put up something else. Even if you want to say it is based upon the Bible, you're still going contrary to the Bible because it forbids you from doing such. Okay? So the true law and the true constitution of all of God's creation.
Greg, so answer McMahon's question now.
Yeah, McMahon's question now is only, theologians and pastors and so are not the only ones who fear God. Once the person fears God, have a track record of hating bribery and that sort of stuff, that person is qualified, whether they're theologian or not, pastor or not.
So how do you determine? So how do you determine whether somebody fears God or not? How are we to decide?
Because based upon the life record, based upon the track record, is this a person that has been proclaiming the gospel? Is this a person who is known to be living an upright life? Is this a person who condemns evil and that sort of? Is this a person known to be, a man of prayer, that sort of stuff? That these are things you're going to look at.
So tell me something. If everybody followed the Bible's way, right? Wouldn't we be having heaven on earth? What would be the purpose of going to heaven? If we follow the Bible's way and live in this ideal life, what? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, the purpose of going to heaven is that when we die, okay, we get rid of these remnants of sin that are still with us. Even though we are Christian, we still have remnants of sin, and that is why Paul said, hey, the things that I just want to do, I just end up not doing them. And things that I don't
so basically you're saying it's impossible for everybody on earth to live the Bible's way, right?
No, it's not impossible. What I'm saying is that
not
it is
impossible.
Of course, once you're a Christian, you're living. Once you're a true Christian, you're living according to the Bible.
Look. Let me interject here. Christopher Columbus, if you follow history, was a God-fearing man. Everywhere he went.
No, that's not true.
Everywhere he went, I'm telling you, if you follow history, everywhere he went, he touted the Bible. He touted Scripture. Before he died,
Satan does that.
Before he died, he called a priest to give him his last rites. But history shows that Christopher Columbus is one of the most heinous individuals to walk the Christian. So that is what Mr. McMahon is saying. How do we define true Christianity? We can't see into the heart of people.
And since it's not possible for all, since it's not possible. But Greg,
that's why the
it's
Lord
not
just have
possible
us
for
praying
all
for these
to be
folks and
Christian.
not on the same level with these people.
Since it's not possible, Greg, since it's not possible to have all Christians, what do we do in the interim? Do we have no government?
The only thing that can be done, whether in the interim, yes or not, we put forth the Bible as the only standard constitution and law for us to follow, because nothing else is going to work.
Look,
you all are thinking okay, we are not obedient to the Bible, so we can't use the Bible, we must use something else. But that's something else is not going to work. Nothing can
Greg,
work other than the Bible.
Greg,
No, but
Greg.
I don't agree with taking the Bible out. All I'm saying is that it's not gonna work. We
Greg.
see who they took back in the day.
Nothing else going to work.
Greg and Cortensia, you remember I don't conform to the Bible, you know. Well, maybe you, Mr. McMahon, and Greg conform to the Bible. I believe the Bible was put together by men and labeled as God's word, and you were supposed to accept it. That is my premise.
When these men that put it together?
Anyway, history has also shown that when the colonialists came here, they came and said they were Christians. See how they use the Bible. Thou shalt not steal. So if a slave was hungry and he stole some food, he was castrated, hung, slaughtered. But at the same time, the colonialists were stealing everything that they got. You look back, everything that they had, they stole.
But they were. You said they were not Christian. Then you just
because the Bible says a thief, an adulterer, and murderer cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. If you is a thief, you is a murderer, and those sorts of the Bible says you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. So anybody who practices
anyway,
cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. So they are not Christian.
Greg, democracy, as we know it here, as we practice it here, right, is still superior to this one-man show dictatorship, okay? And I don't know how in 2025 you could feel comfortable saying that women should not be leaders. To me, that's crazy.
The Bible said that. The Bible said the Bible tells you when you're going to pick men, when you're going to pick leaders, you pick men.
Anyway, we've come to the end of our stint. It's 6 minutes
Greg,
past.
You've put us 6 minutes past
10 o'clock, so gotta leave. Again, any topic we pick up, you can pick up whenever, but usually with Greg, we're just going around in circles because Greg is not going to change his stance whatsoever.
No, he's not going to look at it from any other angle but the biblical way. And Greg, we admire that, but we have to use common sense in a world that rejected the Lord before.
Okay. Let me see if I can take this final caller before we go. Hello?
The Bible said that.
Oh.
The Bible tells you when
This
you're
is
going to pick men.
Hello?
Hi, caller.
Morning, guys. Morning.
Yes.
I'm just listening, right? And my thing is, why do Greg don't put himself up in politics in St. Kitts? Why don't he stop be a talker and be an exemplar?
I like that
Greg,
one.
why don't you run for politics? So you can be the example instead of a talker. You can be a doer of the word.
Caller, I don't think you would want Greg to be the leader, you know, because remember you're a woman. Remember you are.
But she's not putting up herself for anything.
I said she wants Greg to lead.
Uh-huh.
So if Greg becomes the leader,
she won't be in any position.
She won't be in any position.
No, she'll just be a normal person.
Yeah.
Let me move.
So be careful what
move woman and the world fall apart. Okay.
Exactly.
Move the woman and the world will fall apart.
Exactly.
Because if it was not for the woman in the Bible, where was the men when Jesus risen? They all would have been a room of ball.
Boy, they're hiding.
Where were they? Where were they? It was a woman. Okay?
Look, Esther.
Move
Look,
the
Esther.
woman.
The Lord didn't do Esther thing. She just prayed and she fasted. She God and she went in and talked to a man that was leading.
Remember, Esther break the rule because by the Jewish law, she would have been killed.
Yeah,
she was supposed to die for going in without permission.
Exactly. But she prayed to her God.
But she risked her life and she said, whether I perish, I am going in there, because she had her people on her mind. So can you imagine if Esther didn't make that decision?
Yep.
Move the woman, even today still. Move the woman out the church and see how much men up in there. Greg ain't up in there.
Not too much, I should say. Not too much.
Look.
And Greg ain't up in there.
Caller.
Take the woman away And the church gonna be practically
Caller,
empty.
caller. I don't agree with Greg's theory that women should be moved, but move the woman, I agree with you. Remove the women, the world falls apart. But here's this. But hear this. Remove the men, the world fall apart. So we're supposed to be moving in unison. You understand? Show me a world with all men and how it's going to go on. Show me a world with all women and how it's going to go on. We need each other.
Exactly. We need each other to balance out.
Yes.
But in some men's eyes, it's like women are obsolete. We good for the bed and the kitchen.
I don't see them as men. I don't see those as real men. A real man is never intimidated by a woman.
By a strong woman.
Yes, by a strong woman. Okay?
Look me. If it wasn't for women, you hear? It's the woman who's on their knees bruising them. Is our prayer keeping up some of your men too, you know? Because then when the wife home and the mothers are home praying, it's that prayer that is covering you guys, and y'all don't even realize it's us women bruising our knees.
Yeah. Amen, sister.
Have a good day, guys. Greg, don't be a talker. Come be there, set the example. Come run for politics so you can show the people how to run the country the godly way.
Okay, take care. And that is, I don't know why Greg gets the women started, you know. Greg, leave the women alone. Any man will tell you, do not try to have an argument with women.
Just walk away.
We're not going to win.
Walk away. Walk away.
And that's the way we bring an end to another stint. Do take care. Thank you for being here. You have anything to say, Cortez?
Nah, just to all. Have a good day and remember to be kind.
Yeah.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TDC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TDC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle